Hi everyone, and Anthony here with you today from the Total Wealth Symposium. Now, I'm sitting with Charles Mizrahi of the Alpha Investor Report. Charles, thanks for coming out today.
Great time, thanks.
So, we've been covering the cannabis sector, and Charles has a really unique take on it. He does what's called the blue chips of cannabis. And I love the picks because really, when we see the volatility in the cannabis sector like we have been recently, these picks are still doing great. So Charles, could you walk us through a little bit of your investing approach in general and how you came about this idea of blue chip cannabis stocks?
All right, first of all, thanks so much, Anthony. My approach is pretty simple. I look at a stock as a piece of a business. I'm looking to buy a stock that's a piece of a good business, a business in a huge, huge industry that it just could take a slice of that marketplace and still make a lot of money. I'm looking for a business that has an outstanding, or what I call rock star CEO. And third, I want to see where it's being mispriced. Where is Wall Street screwing up and selling a dollar bill for 50 cents? And that's basically my approach to everything I invest in, because if you don't know who is running the company and you don't buy a quality business, you're really pushing a boulder uphill. You're making this game a lot harder than it has to be.
Yeah, that's great. That's a sound approach to investing, and it's a timeless approach. Now, you've taken that and you've turned it on the cannabis market, and you found some really unique picks. When I read your report, I was in love with all the picks. So could you tell me a little bit more about kind of how you came up with those names? You don't have to disclose any of them, but kind of what you saw in the market that brought you to them.
Great. So in any industry, any new industry, you can have a lot of contenders and pretenders. And just take, for example, the auto industry back in 1900. There was over 1,000 car companies. It took several decades, but all those 1,000 companies boiled down to just three. It was General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford, and that was it. If you look at any major industry, internet search, there were about 20 or 30 internet search companies. Now there's Google and everyone else. Computers, same thing. Huge field, winters down to a very small field. Cannabis is a new industry. You have, 500 to 600 different companies. Everyone and his mother who can grow it is putting up a shingle and trying to raise money. To me, that's danger, because there are very few contenders and many, many pretenders. So I'm not good at trying to figure out who the winner of the industry is going to be. So what I would rather do is find businesses that really are heads you win, tails you win a little more. That if cannabis does take off, I win a little more with these businesses, and if it flops and never makes money, these businesses are still going to do well. So what some people call picks and shovel, I basically call the companies on the outside, companies that stand to make money regardless of where the industry goes. Because like I said, Anthony, I don't have your skills in order to figure out where this industry is going, who the winners are going to be. To me, that's too hard a game, and when I face something that's too hard, I put that in the too hard pile and just try to work with things I understand.
Yeah, that's a great approach. One of the hardest things in the cannabis sector is there's always new names coming out. Before this conference, I actually took my list of 200 plus names and I went through it, and 160 of the names were total garbage. Literally, I would never look at them again. I would never recommend them or even put gambling money, because at least with gambling, I have some shot of making money. And so yeah, it's a tough field, and your picks are outside of the view of most investors because they're not even thinking that. But it's win or lose, like you said. These companies are going to do great.
Right. See, the thing about it is that when you have a new industry, their market share is only yay big, and everyone's trying to compete for that market share. To try to figure out who the winner is going to be. If you asked me back in 1900, would I pick, Ford or General Motors? I couldn't have picked them. I'm telling you right now, it's just too hard to figure out. If it was computers back in the day, I don't know. So to me, it's much easier when the industry evolves, if it eventually evolves and makes money. I'll find the 2 or 3 companies that are making money at the time, see if they're trading at a discount to the underlying value, and then buy them when it's much safer. So I don't need to take that risk at this point of losing money, because it's way outside my circle of competence. And the other thing which concerns me with cannabis is I try to stay away from investing in anything that someone could plant in their basement and make money. I just don't get it. I don't get it how the supply is going to be regulated. And secondly, I just don't understand how the industry is going to be able to control the black market.
Yeah.
Because the biggest threat I see to cannabis and the whole play is your local pot dealer.
Yeah.
And how is the industry going to deal with that? I haven't seen any solutions yet. I really don't know how. And that's why I'd rather deal with the companies that are either going to distribute it or make products for it or have distribution for it than try to pick the actual winner.
Yeah, that's a great point. The battle with the black market is something that we're currently dealing with right now, and it's one of the reasons why cannabis is pulling out, because the black market still has market share. And looking back to prohibition, it took about a decade after alcohol was legalized until the federal government could actually stop fighting these bootleggers so much. They had to put up a lot of barriers because the black market doesn't want to go away. There's still a lot of money in it.
So my experience is really from my own past. I grew up and still live in Brooklyn, New York. And we had at the time, in the 1970s, OTB, off-track betting. This was the state getting into the gambling business of horses. Right, horse racing. Tracks were making money, the mafia was making money, everyone was making money. Well, OTB went out of business. The state couldn't make money with it. I really don't see how certain industries are going to be able to make money when it's so easy for the black market to make money. Now, this might be a prohibition thing, which took a little while, and this and that. I'm really not sure. There was a lot of blood spilled and a lot of money lost. That's not a game I want to play at this point. So I'd rather, like you mentioned earlier, play the investment that heads I win, tails I win a little more, because when you lose money, you have to start from zero again, and I never want to start from zero.
Yeah, that sounds like a very logical and fair approach to the cannabis market, especially with so much uncertainty. One of the things we cover is the future of cannabis and how that can break away from the black market. But Charles, with his Alpha Investor Report, he has a sound strategy, some great picks. Like he said, heads you win, tails you win a little bit more.
Right.
So Charles, thank you so much for coming today and speaking with me.
Thank you.
If you want to catch more, Charles is with the Alpha Investor Report. We're live from the TWS Total Wealth Symposium conference, and we will have a link in the bottom in case you want to see any of our talks, mine on cannabis, Charles on his value investing standpoint, and you had 3 more picks, I believe, as far as companies that you believe are trading at about a 50% discount. And so
Right.
you need to check out some of the talks we've had, some great information. I've had a great time, and please tune in for more.